Hi everyone, I'm Bee and welcome back to Read in Rome. The story writing competition is coming up and I'm so excited. Last time we used a story mountain to plan the beginning, middle, and end of our stories. So today we'll write our rough drafts. Let's get started. So now that we have our story plans, we're ready to turn them into rough drafts. A rough draft is the first version of your story where you write your ideas in complete sentences and paragraphs based on the plan you made. It doesn't have to be final or perfect, so it's okay to make spelling mistakes, cross things out, or change some parts. When we write a rough draft, we write full sentences that make sense by adding punctuation, like commas and periods and extra words. For example, we can add sequence words like then, next, later, and last to help order the events, and connecting words like but, so, and because to join short ideas together. We'll also be writing our stories in the past tense, so make sure you use past tense verbs in your sentences. In this video, we'll work on my story, and later, you'll work on yours. So let's look at my story plan and start writing the beginning. I'll keep my plan close by to check I'm including everything I need. At the beginning, we need to introduce the main character, the setting, and what the character wants. I'll start by writing, there was a scientist named Laura who lived in a futuristic city. One day, she was working in her lab. Okay, let's look back at my plan. What should I add next? I'll write, she wanted to build a robot that could help clean up the city. You'll notice I'm looking back at my story plan often so I don't forget any important details. How can we be more specific about how the robot helps clean the city? I'll add, clean up the city's trash and pollution. When we write rough drafts, we can add or remove details as we go. Now for the last part. I want to say how Laura was feeling, so I'll write, Laura was excited. Then, she was going to show her invention to the mayor at a big event tomorrow. Hang on. We can connect those two sentences using because. I'll write, Laura was excited because she was going to show her invention to the mayor at a big event tomorrow. All right, here's my rough draft so far. There was a scientist named Laura who lived in a futuristic city. One day, she was working in her lab because she wanted to build a robot that could clean up the city's trash and pollution. Laura was excited because she was going to show her invention to the mayor at a big event tomorrow. That's a strong beginning. I followed my plan in order, used full sentences, and wrote in past tense. I also mentioned the setting and introduced my main character. Now, I'm going to finish my rough draft by writing the middle and end. Okay, I'm back and I've got a great rough draft. Want to hear the middle and end? The next day, Laura finished her robot and went to the event. She walked on stage and greeted the mayor in front of a big crowd. Then, she pressed the robot's on button, but suddenly it glitched and zoomed away. As it sped past people, it stole their hats and bags. Next, it went onto the road and caused a traffic jam. After that, it started emptying trash cans onto the sidewalk. It was causing chaos across the city. Laura jumped off the stage and started chasing after it, used her smartwatch to track it, and jumped on her hoverboard. Now Laura is following the robot to a tall tower where she finds it running around in circles. When she finally corners it, she turns it off. She had to tell the mayor, but she was nervous to talk to him. She took a deep breath, then pressed a button on her smartwatch to call him. He laughed and thanked her for fixing the problem, and Laura learned an important lesson to add better safety settings to her robot next time. Yay, I'm so happy with my rough draft. Now we just need to review it using a checklist. This will help us make sure we included all the important parts and that it makes sense. I already reviewed the beginning, so now it's your turn to go over the rest of the story. Check off the things you think I did on the list and underline any mistakes you find in my story. Pause the video now. Let's check. In the middle, did I include the conflict? Yes, when the robot glitched and caused chaos. What about my ending? Laura turned off the robot and even learned a lesson. That's the resolution. Did I use full sentences? Yes, but look at the middle. What do you notice? This isn't a complete sentence because it doesn't say who used the smartwatch, and it doesn't end in a period, so I'll fix this later. Next, did I use sequence words and connecting words? Yes, I used ones like then and so. And finally, did I write in the past tense? I mostly did, but check this out. This is in the present tense, so I'll need to change this so it makes sense. If you notice those mistakes too, then great job. But remember, rough drafts don't have to be perfect. The goal is to get the story out of your head and onto the page. While I go back and fix those 2 mistakes, you can go ahead and write your rough draft in your lesson materials. Take your time and enjoy the writing process. And remember, where there are words, there's a world to explore. Hey, hey.